Do you see this line in the sky? Perhaps it's easier here, where you may see a few others as well. On the evening of Tuesday, May 19th, Rebecca Thompson sent these photos to me from Fenwick Island, Delaware, and she wanted to know, what is this cloud? Hi, I'm meteorologist Justin Berk. Have you seen something like that before? Well, what we were looking at was kind of an illusion. See, not all dark clouds produce a storm. But to get a better explanation, let's first take a look at the weather setup that day. On the weather map, we can see Tropical Storm Arthur had just made an early season appearance off of the East Coast. On the morning of May 19th, the winds were already up to 60 miles per hour. On the visible satellite image, it had a clearly defined center of circulation in a large field of clouds, but it was hundreds of miles east over the Atlantic Ocean. Fast forward to the evening and check out this amazing visible satellite loop. While the tropical storm was spinning well offshore, an upper-level low cut off from the jet stream was spinning over Kentucky. Moisture was funneling between these two systems, and as is often the case, the farther away from the center of a storm, the moisture gets thrown higher and higher in the sky. That was what was sitting over Delaware that evening. Even better, check out the water vapor loop. This helps identify the high-level moisture, and to simplify this, check out the green and white colors. That's where most of the moisture is and the highest humidity at that air level. Blue shows moderate moisture, but not completely saturated. Where you see yellow, that is where the air is dry. That bluish white color over coastal Delaware is an indication of cirrus clouds. Enough to cover the sky, but during this evening time frame, just thin enough that you can see through. Now let's take a look at the observations. This is an hourly code for pilots and reported at airports throughout the country every hour. This column here is the report for cloud decks, and there can be multiple layers. Since the photo was taken around 7:30 p.m., the closest observation was at 7:54 p.m. Here we can see 3 cloud layers. I'll break it down like this. Few at 10,000 feet, broken at 15,000 feet, and the overcast layer up at 22,000 feet above the ground. When we look at the basic types of clouds, that overcast was a high layer above 20,000 feet. At that level, the clouds are actually made of ice crystals, and that veil of gray was cirrostratus. It can cover the entire sky and still be thin enough to see through. So, what was that line? Well, you may have already guessed it. It was a contrail from a plane. But wait, airplanes put out exhaust, but they do not always condense into clouds. Sometimes they can simply look like this. Other times, like when the Blue Angels and Thunderbirds flew over Baltimore, the pilots can decide when to add special exhaust clouds just for display. By the way, I put a link in the comments to that awesome collection of videos that we had over the Baltimore and Washington, D.C. area just a few weeks ago. So check that out after this is done. But in normal cases, flights are much higher. So here we have a cirrus cloud deck that was around 22,000 feet and a commercial flight at around 35,000 feet. That is above the layer of cirrus. The contrail was in a layer that allowed the exhaust from that plane to condense into a cloud. Since this was above the cirrus clouds, it actually cast a shadow on that lower layer. The light was passing through an extra layer of clouds, thus making it appear darker. It was harmless and not a sign of any rain to come. I hope that cleared things up. The explanation, not the sky. I still can't make or change the weather. Until next time, I'm meteorologist Justin Berk. Keep looking up.